2.5 years ago, I started listening to 2 hours of Spanish every single day, and now I've reached the point where I can have full-on conversations with native speakers. I can listen to native audiobooks, I can listen to native YouTube content without any problem. Along the way, I've collected 30 lessons that have completely changed how I think about language learning, and in this video, I'm going to transfer all of my 2.5 years of wisdom from learning a language. I'm going to transfer it all to you in 11 minutes. Let's go. Number 1, it takes a long time. Learning a language is like getting married. Actually getting to the point where you have deep comprehension and you can produce fluid speech requires so much emotional investment that it's basically on the same level as choosing a romantic partner. If you don't think you'll ever love the language enough to commit to it like that, I wouldn't start. Don't break its heart. Number 2, fluency, at least in the way that most beginners think about it, isn't real. Chasing fluency will get you nowhere. You're never going to arrive at a point and say, finally, I've made it, I'm fluent, I'm here. It's always going to feel like there's a lot more in front of you, and that just never goes away. Number 3, the beginning is horrible. It's the worst part. My philosophy is the best way to learn a language is to listen to the language. But this is really hard in the beginning because you feel like you can't understand anything, and you can't. If you can stick out the first 50 to 100 hours of listening, your chances of becoming fluent in the future skyrocket. Number 4, language learning is hard but simple. It's not complex. A lot of people are going to tell you that you need to study, you need grammar, you need a tutor, you need a whole assortment of tools. All you actually need is listening and then eventually speaking. Everything else is optional. Use it if you need it, not because someone said you have to do it. Focusing on things like grammar and vocab can be helpful, but they can also be distracting. At the end of the day, you're not here to pass a vocab quiz or a grammar test. You're here to speak with people. Number 5, most people stall. Everybody has a natural aversion to listening to a foreign language. Listening to a language that you don't understand is uncomfortable. Everybody would prefer to just study the language because you can study the language in your native language, and that makes us feel like we're much more in control. My advice is to stop stalling. If you want to learn a language, just jump in. Stop waiting around the pool. Just jump right in and start listening to the language. Number 6, nobody can teach you a language. A language isn't something you can learn in a lecture. A language has to be learned through you experiencing it yourself. Of course, someone can help you out or coach you or give you tips, but no one can take a language and put it in your head. Number 7, listening is fundamental. Speaking is a result of listening. Start with a deep ability to understand, and then when you can understand, then worry about speaking. Speaking words you don't fully understand is what a parrot does, and language learning is not about parroting. Number 8, for the most part, don't tell anybody you're learning a language. People do not understand what that means. If you're doing it right, you won't speak impressively for a good amount of time. But people hear,
I'm learning a language,
and they expect performance. Language learning is not a performance. It's mostly internal. Number 9, emotionally connect with the language. You are marrying a language. You need to learn to love the language. If you can't find something in the language you love, it'll be very hard for you to continue. And if you do love the language, you're going to have a much easier time convincing your brain to remember it. Our brains naturally store what we care about, and they throw out what we don't. Number 10, learn to tolerate ambiguity. The language will never sound perfectly clear. Don't think that just because you can't understand something with absolute perfect clarity that you're not learning or you're not growing. As long as you get the gist of what you're listening to, you're growing. Number 11, progress in a language is a sigmoid curve, meaning you're going to experience rapid growth at the beginner stage, and it's just going to get slower and slower from there until you barely feel like you're making progress at all. That is normal. Accept that that's natural and don't go off looking for hacks. Number 12, listening to the language doesn't necessarily make you improve. What makes you improve is understanding messages. Passive input, immersion, playing the language when you sleep. These things are silly. The commodity is not your time, it's your attention. If you do not pay attention, you will not improve. Think about it like this. You're gonna learn a language the same way you learn the words to your favorite song. How did you learn the words to your favorite song? Did you learn the words by playing the song on repeat while you were sleeping? Did you learn the words by having the song playing off somewhere in the background while you were doing something else? Or did you learn the song simply because you liked it so much that you kept paying attention, and over time, unconsciously, your brain just learned to recognize it? You don't have to consciously study the language, but you do have to pay attention. Number 13, be willing to pay money. Don't make language learning any harder than it has to be. If you don't have YouTube Premium, buy it. If you're using a language with a comprehensible input library that's private that requires a subscription fee, pay it. If you take language learning seriously, it's definitely going to be a worthwhile investment. Think about it like this. If you need 1,000 hours to learn a language, and each video you watch is 10 minutes long, and each of those videos has a 5-second unskippable ad, you will spend 8 hours of your language learning journey watching ads. Number 14, your ability to speak is volatile, your ability to comprehend is not. Don't look at your speaking fluidity to determine how fluent you are. Your speaking is naturally going to wax and wane based on how often you've been using it. Judge your fluency by how much you can comprehend. That's a way more stable variable. Number 15, language learning actually gets really, really easy. Once you're able to listen to stuff in your target language that you'd want to listen to anyway, language learning becomes the easiest and most rewarding hobby. Number 16, you don't need to be special. People who tell you you need to be a grammar expert or have a perfect memory to learn a language are simply wrong. When I first started out, I was told countless times by the traditional learning channels, if you don't, study this specific grammar rule, you'll never get it. It'll be totally impossible. And every time they said that, they were wrong. It always turned out to be false. It always turned out to be something that I simply learned by listening. Number 17, it's going to feel weird. If you're truly becoming fluent, then a lot of the times you won't know how or why you understand something, you just will. You don't need to be aware of everything you're learning. And if you try to be, you're just gonna slow yourself down. Your brain is really good at recognizing patterns. Don't get in its way. Number 18, the only way to fail is to quit. In language learning, there will never come a point where you have to try to pass some insurmountable obstacle, like some impossible grammar rule or some unlearnable word. Just like there was no word or grammar rule that was impossible for you to understand in your native language, there will be no word or grammar rule that's just beyond your ability to comprehend in your target language. It doesn't take a long, silent cognitive battle of you trying to reason through it in your head. It just comes from exposure. Tons and tons of comprehensible input. Number 19, make a friend or get a girlfriend in the language. Find someone in real life or on the internet that can tie you to the language. If you can do this, if you can build a relationship in the language, you will boost your chances of reaching fluency by at least 3 times. Number 20, don't worry about your mistakes. 1, because nobody really cares. And 2, because most of your mistakes will just be worked out by listening to more of the language. I was allowed to sound shitty for a very long time because I mostly only talked to my girlfriend in the beginning. It's much better and much more natural to just allow yourself to try to speak the language without judgment. Somebody constantly correcting you is just going to make you feel judged and uncomfortable, and it's going to make speaking the language less fun and less like something you actually want to do. Number 21, people say it takes a long time to develop a sense of humor in the language. I think that's nonsense. You can actually engage with humor very, very quickly. The reason people propagate this myth is because they learned a language in a way that was sterile and devoid of fun. Humor is something that only comes from a deep implicit understanding of the language. And the only way to get a deep implicit understanding of the language is to listen to a ton of the language. If you learn a language without massive amounts of input, of course you won't be funny. You'll be too busy decoding what you're hearing and trying to construct sentences in your head to have any fun. Number 22, track your progress. Language learning is an ultra marathon. If you started running an ultra marathon but didn't track where you started, you'd have no idea the distance you've actually run. A huge motivator for me was tracking my time and having a roadmap so I could see approximately where I'd be based on how many hours I'd sunk into the language. If you're looking to track your time, get a roadmap, and find content to watch in your target language, I recommend checking out my website, Langualytics. The link is always in the description. Number 23, your speaking will always suck compared to your listening. Learn to be okay with that. Nobody expects you to be Shakespeare. Natives are usually impressed you can just say hello. Number 24, if you can't explain what's happening in the content you're watching, then it's too difficult for you. Find something easier. A good way to test that you're watching content at your level is that you can explain it to somebody who's curious about what you're watching. If you can explain it, then you are growing. Number 25, you don't need to feel like you're studying to grow. School made us think that you need to take notes and look productive to improve. For some people, the trauma caused by that makes just listening to the language feel so impossible. Drown out the voice in your head that says you're not working hard enough. A hamster can put a lot of effort running in his little hamster wheel and still make it absolutely nowhere. How hard you appear to be working is not a good measurement of how much progress you're actually making. Number 26, whenever you feel like you're not improving, go back and rewatch a video that you watched a long time ago. Then you'll feel your progress, then you'll get your confidence back, and you can continue feeling good about yourself. Number 27, never feel guilty using translations. Language learning is hard enough. Don't make it any harder on yourself by limiting yourself to never using direct translations. Don't deprive yourself of watching something that really interests you just because you need to use ChatGPT or Google Translate. Number 28, everyone who's fluent now was once in your position. I was, everybody who watches this channel were, all of us. I'm not special, they're not special. The only difference between us and you is hours of comprehensible input, hours of time spent listening to the language. That's all that's between us. Number 29, a fluent speaker who doesn't know how to say purple is still a fluent speaker. Eventually on your journey, you're gonna realize that fluency doesn't actually mean knowing the most words. Knowing a lot of words might make you really good at Duolingo, but it's not as much help as you might think when you're trying to talk to locals at a bar. What really does help is just listening to a lot of locals talking at a bar. You can know all the dictionary definitions you want, and you still won't be able to understand a full-speed native speaker. Number 30, if you do it right, it will almost never feel like studying. It will always feel more like exploring. Learning a language forces you to open your mind in a way that almost no other skill can do. It's highly likely to change your personality and affect how you think about the world. And the reason I saved this for last is I think it really captures how I feel about language learning as a whole. The goal of language learning isn't to put more of yourself into the world, it's to let more of the world into yourself, to get an even deeper understanding of the reality in which we live. That's the list, guys. If you're far along in your journey and you want to help out beginners, put your number 31 in the comments. And if you're looking for a series of videos to explain to you how to get fluent from end to end, I recommend checking out my handbook. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description. I have a video series there that will teach you all that I know about language learning. And I'm going to put one of those videos from the handbook right here if you'd prefer to stay on YouTube. Thank you for watching.